Okay, hey, here we are. Let me get rid of that. How's everyone doing? My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is the Daily Draw. We get together every day and spend about just 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, looking at all aspects of drawing. This is actually part of a paid class, but for this week, I've opened it up for everyone to see what we do behind the curtain a little bit. If you're interested in joining the Daily Draw, check out the link down in the comments. I'll put it down there. Today we are going to be looking at how to draw characters and 3 things that will help you to really narrow down your ideas when you're drawing a character. A character, could be if you're writing a short story, if you're drawing a single image for a poster, or if you happen to be making a short little movie, you're going to have, or a cartoon, you're going to have characters inside of them. So today what we're going to look at, let me just really quickly, nope, don't want to do that. So what I've done here, I just want to turn that off. Okay. What I've done here is I found some reference of this. I really like this guy here who has just caught all these fish. And I thought, what if we turned him into a heron? So a bird was, a seabird had caught all these fish. What would that look like as a character? So these 3 ideas that I'm going to give to you right now in just a second, I want you to think of them as a guardrail. Let's say you're on driving to try and get to this location of drawing a character. And these guardrails are going to help narrow some of your decision making so that you can make it just a little bit easier. All right. So what are these 3 concepts or ideas? All right. First is shape. What's the shape of your character? Or better, I feel like I have something right there. Shape or silhouette. The next thing you're going to have is color, right? And then the third thing is exaggeration. Exaggeration. I think that's spelled right. Don't hate me if it's not, okay? So these are the 3 things we want to look at. Silhouette or shape, color, and exaggeration. What we're going to do tonight is mainly look at silhouette, okay? So how does this, let me show you how powerful silhouette can be, okay? So let's bring this up again. I'm just going to erase this whole layer, clear layer. Okay, so look at this silhouette. And let's see how quickly you can say it in the chat, all right? If I do this, let me get a nice simple pen here. If I do this, all right, I'm going to start right there. And as soon as you can guess what the silhouette is, say it in the chat. All right, what character is that? You know. There it is, Mickey Mouse. Perfect. See, y'all knew exactly what that is just by a good silhouette. Right. Let's come over here and let me think of, okay, here's a silhouette. Now let's see if you know this one here. And if you think you know, just say it. Don't hold back. Say it right in the chat. All right, this is a well-known character. Let's see if you can guess who this is. No, not yet. Yes! Good job, Emily. That is SpongeBob. Very, very good. Okay, so there's another very good silhouette. So you can see that when you create a strong silhouette, that character will not be forgotten. So silhouettes are super, super important. Okay, let's do away with that and try this out and see how we do here. So on your page, let's try and draw at least 2 silhouettes. With this being in mind, and it might be hard to do with a pencil. Sometimes it's easier to do with a marker because it's you could just put down a dark color. But we'll see how we do. So just keep in mind that you're thinking of shape. Now I'm going to write color up here, but we're not dealing with color right now. But we are dealing with exaggeration. Okay, so let's try and see how we would do with a character of this heron who has just caught all this fish. So let's see here. Let's start off with a triangle, maybe, right? For his head, that's pretty good. And then let's see here. Let's come down here, and then maybe he's just super tall and skinny, kind of like our character right there, right? And then look at that, his legs, and then this leg is over here. Maybe his big old feet. And then maybe he has a pole here, right? And maybe he has a fish. And then now I'm going kind of fast, but I am trying to get some idea. So there's one idea of a silhouetted character, all right? All right, let's try again here. I'm going to just move him over here. All right, let's do another one. But this one, let's say this guy has had his fill of a fish. So let's see. Let's start with his body type here. All right, so yeah. All right, so he's got a big old body, and then I'm gonna make his neck come down much lower here. And then look at this here. Here we'll put one. I'm going to make his legs look a little bit stubby. I do like this. Our reference has this great hat. You know, it's like a. And maybe even we could say that he has a fish in his mouth, and he's walking around with this fish in his mouth. And maybe he has a fishing pole like this. That got a little crazy there. Okay, so there we are. There's two different silhouettes. And so you could see how just with a marker you can just try all kinds of different ideas until you get a design that looks really good in a silhouette format. Drawing in a silhouette just really eliminates all this extra detail you don't have to think about. You could just say, what is the basic shape? You could even, let's just do this here real quickly. You could even like break this down to even like, okay, can I make my shapes even simpler? You know, what if his body is primarily a rectangle? And his head is going to be a triangle. I suppose it's similar to this one over here. Maybe he has big feet. I think I already said that already. Anyways, I don't know. So it takes some effort to start to think about like how this is going to design. So for tonight, I've already drawn a silhouette and we're going to actually fill it in and draw the character out. So let me show you what I came up with earlier, and I worked on it a little bit and I think I like it. So this is my fishing heron that I think that we will draw into a character. And so with him, I squeeze things, I cut things off, and now from this, we can basically try and draw an actual character from that has a lot of fun detail to it. So let's give that a go and see how we do as a group. So let me bring that up here. All right, so let's start with some of our basic shapes. So first thing is I'm gonna get his head in, and his head's pretty small. So let's see here. All right, so that's about my head size. And all right, we're gonna get our eye line here, right? And if I look at my reference, you know, his bill comes right off his head. So let's see what we can come up here with. All right, I'm looking at my silhouette here. One thing I like about the silhouette, I like the use of this guy's hat. So let's put a hat on his head using my reference. Oops. And I want this hat actually to kind of cup on him. You see that? Right now, before I had it like sitting on top. So I had to slightly redesign it. Also, this heron, look at it, on some of his I like the fact that his eyes on, especially on this bird here, are like inside this little black thing here. So we'll just okay. I'm going to add a little bit of tone to my hat here to give it a little bit of depth. I'm not sure if I'm liking this beak yet, but we're going to go with it. Okay. All right, let's get a little action line here, and get a little direction for his neck, right? Okay, then his body, look at his body. I like his body that it's like really straight up and down. He's almost like a beach bum in a way, you know? Hanging out at the beach all day. I mean, he's doing fishing, and maybe I shouldn't call him a beach bum or anything like that. All right, so we've got our all right, then we've got his feet. So I like one foot that's like long legs, and this one is just really walking along. There's a nice triangle, a little knee, right? Selling his catch, maybe, right? Okay, so now look at my silhouette. So then we have one wing that is look at the silhouette. We've got one wing that is wrapping around that pole. So let's use some fingers there. See that? The feathers of his wings there. And then maybe the other hand, I thought the other wing is coming down here, and he's just, he's just swinging it along. All right, let's get some of these fish in here. So we'll do one fish there. Make a big one, maybe a little one there. I like maybe one fish is tied up. One heavy one is up here to balance the load, right? So let's see here. Let's draw this. Maybe I like this idea that he's caught a shark. So there's the top part of the shark. And then these fish are going to be hanging there, and then some fins maybe, right? And then I don't know. I like the idea of having little X's for eyes, even on this shark. And I'm just kind of thinking of detail here. So look at this, is interesting. So I've kind of am finished, I think, with my bird character here. But look at this. Look what happens if you don't watch out. In this silhouette, okay? Look at the silhouette. He is like leaning forward, his head is down. It really kind of gives a sense that he's kind of like moving along. His legs are super skinny and thin, whereas in my large redrawing of the character, he's very like stiff. He's very straight up and down. It doesn't really show a lot of weight that he's carrying in these fish. So it just shows you that you have to be a little bit careful that if you get a real good silhouette that shows a lot of character, that when you take it to your final drawing, you don't lose it. Okay, so just remember those three ideas. You want to think of shape or silhouette, you want to think of color, and you want to think of exaggeration. We kind of hit on exaggeration and shape. If you were to think of color, take a look at this. This picture is a great example. You know, there is an interest that all these fish are just happen to have gray values. And of course, our fisherman here is also wearing gray values. That's an interesting combination of color. Now, if you were to add maybe, a blue herring, maybe there's a blue stripe on him someplace that makes him pop off. You see what I mean? So this is where you would end up using like a color palette to help distinguish your character from other characters or other drawings that you have made. Okay, that's what we got for tonight. This is, my name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. This is Thursday edition of the Daily Draw. We always look at character design. Tune in tomorrow. I will put up a link for tomorrow's class, and that's going to be on animals, specifically drawing animals. So make sure you check that out. Thanks for watching, everyone. Go out there and make your day great. Okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.